In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to determine if a relation is a function. So first of all, how do I determine if a relation is a function? Let's take a look at the definition of a relation. A relation is a set of ordered pairs that relates to an input and an output, and this relation can be any pairing of any numbers. Where to be a function is a special type of relation because where every input, there's exactly one output. There's only one output that each of these inputs can have. So I'm going to underline that. That's really important. So if we take a look at the first example on the left, we've got the pairs of -10, -34, 0, -22, and 10, -9, and 2, 3. If you take a look, each one of these inputs over here has exactly one output. We're over on the right. If you take a look, -10 has the input of -10 has two different outputs. It has a -34 and a -22. And so because of this right here, this would not be a function. Functions consist of a domain and a range. The domain is the all possible input values, where our range is all possible output values. Our input values are our x, is considered to be our x, and our range is our y. So this here is our domain, or the x, and the range is our y. The output variable is called the dependent variable because the value depends on the value of the input variable. And we'll get into and talking more about this at a later time. So the independent variable is the input, it's our x, and our dependent variable is the output value, which is our y. So remember, this is x, this is the y. And the y in our input-output table in our function is going to be dependent on whatever that x is. All right, so let's go ahead and determine if each is a function, and then we'll identify the domain and the range. All right, so for our first one, what I like to do is I like to list them. I've got 4, and that goes with 7. I've got 2, and the output would be 6. Well, here I've got 4, and we've got an output of a -5, and I also have another 2 where the output is -4. Because the input has more than one output, that is not a function. All right, let's take a look at the next one. I've got -1, the output would be 3. Input is 0, the output is -3. Input 1, -1, and 2, -1. This is a function, even though one of the common mistakes that people make is that you've got two of the same output values, but that's okay because each input has exactly one output. So this here is a function. All right, so here, the 7, output 2, -6, output 2, -5, output 14. So every input has exactly one output, so it is a function. All right, so let's take a look at the next two. These are on a graph. One easy way for us to determine if it's a function or not a function is to do a line test. Because remember, this is my x value, this is my y value. So if I look going this way, and if it does not have any value that is straight up and down, then it is going to be a function. And this one's a little bit easier for you to see the vertical test because let's go ahead and let's take 2 points. And you can take any points. I'm going to take one from here and one from here because they're at the whole numbers. So if I look and I go over 2, up 2, so my value here is 2, 2. Well, if I go and look at the bottom one, it's going to be, the input's going to be 2, and the output is going to be negative 2. So notice that I've got an input of 2 has two different outputs. So I've got 2 to 2, and I've got 2 to negative 2. So no, this is not a function. And if you take a look, there's several places all along there that where the input has two different outputs. So this here, not a function. And the next one's easy for you to see. I go have 4 has an output of 2 and the 4 has an output of 5. Because it has two different outputs, it is not a function. All right, so in this lesson, we took a look at the difference between a relation and a function.